Yesterday, Sayadaw explained on two kinds of jhana, samatha jhana and vipassana jhana. And yesterday, Sayadaw explained on vipassana jhana, combining with theory and practice. So the word vipassana jhana actually comes from the word lakhanupānijjhana. So lakhana means sign or characteristics. So the characteristics are that things are impermanent, they are suffering, and they are happening in their own accord. So in Pali, these characteristics are called lakhana. There are two kinds of lakhana. The first one is sabhava lakhana, unique or individual characteristic. And the second kind is samanya lakhana, common characteristic. So every nama rupa, each and every one of the nama rupa has their own characteristics. So every nama rupa, they have their own unique characteristics, and it is called sabhava lakhana. Samanya lakhana is the common characteristics. So every nama rupa arises and passes away. Whatever nama rupa that arises, they don't stay the same, but they pass away after arising. So this arising and passing away, the characteristic of arising and passing away, is owned by every nama rupa. So the characteristics of arising and passing away is the common characteristic that is owned by every nama rupa. If something dissolves or passes away, then this thing is included in the list of things that are not good. If a thing is good, if something is in good shape, people will think of it as permanent. But after some time, this thing is of no use anymore, and it will dissolve or it will perish. So something that is perishable is no good, and things are happening in their own accord. So nobody is governing or nobody is controlling. These things should happen this way. These things should not happen that way. So nobody can control or create or manage or direct these things to happen in the way the person wants them to be. So in the outside, there are many different kinds of climate, and the weather is changing all the time. So at certain months, the weather can be cold. At certain months, the weather can be warm. At certain months, the weather that there will be raining. At certain months, it will be snowing, and so on. So these climates and weather are not influenced by anyone. So at the time of hot weather, the weather will be hot. In the time of winter, it will be cold. At the time of rainy season, it will be raining. And also, at the time of at certain time, the weather can be dry. At certain time, the weather can be moist or humid. So in the same way, just as the weather and climate happen in their own accord without the influence of the people, so in the same way, in the body, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. So these seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and so on, they arise due to circumstances. So if there are circumstances or favorable situation, then the seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and so on, they will take place. So nobody can influence the things to happen this way, not to happen that way. That's why it is called anatta. Things happen in their own accord. So there is no atta that can happen according to one's own wishes. Every nama rupa, each and every nama rupa has their own unique characteristics. So the unique characteristic that is owned by each and every nama rupa is called sabhava lakkhana, unique or individual characteristics. And also there is common characteristic which is owned by nama rupa, all the nama rupa. So they are common characteristics, and it is called in Pali samanya lakkhana, common characteristics. So Vipassana jhana has to do with observing, knowing these two kinds of characteristics, unique and common characteristics. So Vipassana jhana is observing the two kinds of characteristics, unique characteristic, sabhava lakkhana, and then common characteristic, samanya lakkhana. And this word, Vipassana jhana, comes from the main word, lakhanupa nijana. So in practicing Satipatthana meditation, one should aim the mind towards the object. One should continuously be aiming the noting mind towards the object. When the yogi aims the mind towards the object, the noting mind will be face to face or direct with the object. And when noting the rising and falling of the abdomen, with aiming the mind towards this rising and falling, the noting mind will become face to face or direct with this rising, falling. When the noting mind is direct or face to face with rising of the abdomen, even though the name is rising, but the yogi will see the true nature such as stiffness, tension, and so on. And when noting the falling of the abdomen, when the noting mind becomes face to face or direct with the falling of the abdomen, even though the name is called falling, that the yogi will come to know the nature such as movement, relaxation, and so on. So because the yogi note at the moment of the rising of these objects with effort, there will be sustained mindfulness. and the noting mind will fall calm and collected on the object. When the noting mind falls calm and collected on the object, when the noting mind falls onto stiffness, then the yogi comes to know stiffness. When the noting mind falls on tension, then the yogi comes to know it as tension. So even though it is said rising, falling, but when the noting mind falls onto the object, rising and falling of the abdomen, then the yogi comes to see the nature such as stiffness, tension, warmth, cold, heat. So the yogi comes to know the true nature because the noting mind falls calm and collected on the object. In order to note the rising, in order to note the object, in order to make the noting mind fall calm and collected on the object, one needs to aim the mind towards the object and put effort. So when the noting mind falls repeatedly on the object, then there will be sustained mindfulness. The noting mind will stick onto the object of meditation. So in order that the noting mind would stick onto the object, yogi needs to exert effort. So yogi needs to exert ardent effort so that there will be sustained mindfulness on the object of meditation. But this effort should not be excessive. If the yogi puts excessive effort, then the noting mind can overshoot the target. So putting excessive effort, the noting mind can slip away or overshoot the object of meditation. And on the other hand, when the yogi exerts less effort than needed, then the noting mind will fall short of the object. The noting mind will not reach the object. That's why it is important to exert effort, not too excessive, not too slack. So the effort should be correct amount. So the yogi needs to tune or to make tuning so that the effort will be just right. So yogi needs another jhana factor here, aiming. Yogi needs to aim so that the effort will be just right. So this jhana factor, aiming, arises together with viriya, sati and samadhi. By noting with aim and effort, yogi will be able to note the object such as rising and falling of the abdomen. So in this way, in order that the noting mind would reach in order that the noting mind will be face to face with the object, yogi needs to aim the noting mind. So this aiming is one of the jhana factor. So as the yogi notes the object, aiming the mind towards the object, then the noting mind will rub onto the object. The noting will be effective so that the noting mind will rub onto the object. So when the noting mind rubs onto the object, it is called vichara. It is also another one of the jhanic factor. So when vichara is present, the noting mind will rub onto the object. The noting will be effective. So when vichara is present, the noting is effective, that there will be no uncertainty. So there will be no uncertainty, there will not be any doubt. So when there is vichara, when the noting mind rubs onto the object, then yogi comes to know the nature of the object, such as stiffness, tension, and so on. So when vichara arises, it is not just mere reflection, but it is like coming into decision that it is stiffness or tension. So this vichara is similar to knowledge. Because with vichara, one can come to decide the nature such as stiffness, tension, and so on. So that's why this vichara is similar to knowledge. So in this way, the two jhana factors of vitakka and vichara are present. When these two jhana factors, vitakka and vichara, are present, then the noting mind falls onto the object of meditation. The noting mind will be calm and collected on the object of meditation, moment by moment. When you think of it, when the noting mind falls calm and collected on the object, at that moment, the mind will be free from kama chanda, sensual desire. So when the noting mind is on the object of meditation, there will not be sensual pleasure, sensual desire, such as wanting to see good things, wanting to hear good sounds, wanting to smell good fragrance. So this sensual desire has no chance to arise when the noting mind falls calm and collected on the object. So in this way, the mind is free from nirvana, hindrances. So the mind is not disturbed by these nirvana hindrances. So when the mind is free from these disturbances of these nirvanas, the mind will become pure and clean, and knowledge can arise. So when the noting mind rubs onto the object of meditation, there will be certainty about the object. There will not be any doubt or uncertainty. So in this way, having vichara, vicikicca, skeptical doubt will be dispelled when vichara is present. So in place of vicikicca, skeptical doubt, vichara replaces. So vichara is replacing vicikicca, skeptical doubt. So there will be certainty about the object. So vichara arises, vitakka and vichara arises because the yogi is asserting ardent effort. Having ardent effort, the path of unwholesomeness, another way, the path of defilement will be blocked when there is effort. So having effort present, the path of unwholesomeness will be blocked, and the path of wholesomeness will be open. So the stronger the effort is, the more noting mind will fall on the object of meditation, and there will be sustained mindfulness. If there is sustained mindfulness, this sustained mindfulness protects the mind so that kilesa defilements cannot enter the mind. So having mindfulness present, the mind is guarded, protected away from the defilements, so that the mind is safe and secure away from the defilements. So when there is sustained mindfulness, the mind will be falling calm and collected on the object. At that moment, there will not be thinking about sensual pleasure, there will not be sensual desire, and there will not be any other nirvana hindrances. So in this way, the mind is away from the nirvana hindrances. So when the mind is away from the nirvana hindrances and unwholesomeness, there is this vitakka and vichara present. When the two factors of vitakka and vichara are present, then the mind is away from the nirvana hindrances and akusala unwholesomeness. So having these two jhana factors, aiming, which is vitakka, rubbing the noting mind against the object, which is vichara, having these two jhana factors, vitakka and vichara present, the mind is pure and clean, and it is away from the nirvana hindrances, so that the mind is in seclusion. So when you come to think about this moment when your practice is doing okay, when the practice is good, when one has this vitakka and vichara present, how will it be? So it will be great. At the beginning of the practice, yogi does not even want to see the sitting cushion because she is afraid that the pain will come or discomfort will come during the sitting meditation. So it happens that the yogi does not even want to see the sitting cushion. So yogi has to do sitting meditation because she wants to have Dhamma, or she has to do sitting meditation because she is afraid of the teacher. But these yogis at the beginning of the practice does not even want to see the sitting cushion because they are afraid of pains and aches will come during the sitting. But now, when the yogi becomes skilled in the practice, when the mind is free from the nirvana hindrances, then yogi feels comfortable with the practice. At times, the yogi gets some kind of springy feeling, having joy. So yogi begins to have happiness in the practice. At times, the yogi experiences good flesh. At times, the yogi feels as if there is a pleasant flow of electric current. At times, the yogi feels the body is covered by a thin layer of something. At times, the yogi feels levitating. So when this experience arises, yogi becomes interested in the practice, and yogi sometimes the yogi sometimes gets interested what will happen next. So during this stage, yogi feels minor kind of joy, which is called pamoja, and later on, stronger form of joy, piti, can also arise when the mind is free from nirvana hindrances. When piti arises, sukha, happiness, also follows. When there is sukha, happiness or comfort, the mind is calm and collected. The mind will not be agitated with the sensual desire, or the mind will not be agitated with the other kinds of hindrances. The mind will not be agitated with ill will. So at the moment when piti, joy, is present, the mind will not have any aversion or anger. So in this way, the mind will not be dirty. So when there is happiness, sukha, the mind will not have distraction or remorse, but the mind will be calm and collected, and the mind will not go to sensual pleasure. So in this way, the path of unwholesomeness will be blocked. The mind will become calm, serene, and clean, and the yogi will think, "Whoa, I'm doing fine with the practice." So in this way, yogi feels encouraged with his or her practice. So at the beginning of the practice, yogi does not want to sit, do the sitting meditation, because she is afraid of painful sensations. But when the yogi overcomes these unpleasant sensations, when the yogi is able to note these unpleasant sensations, the yogi is not afraid of pain anymore. Yogi can even challenge pain. Let the pain come, I will note it. So in this way, yogi gains courage and bravery in the practice. When the yogi gains courage in the practice, his or her effort has become very strong. So at this stage, yogi is developing mental strength in the mind, and this stage is compared to the first jhana. So as the Vipassana law goes, as the Satipatthana law goes, only if one is mindful at the present moment of arising, then one will come to know the true nature. So whenever the object arises, rising, falling, sitting, touching, lifting, moving, placing, whenever these objects are arising, yogi should be noting them, labeling them as rising, falling, sitting, touching, lifting, moving, placing, and so on. So yogi should first start with the most simple object, rising and falling of the abdomen. So when noting the objects such as rising and falling of the abdomen, the jhana factors such as vitakka and vichara are present. When these jhana factors are present, there will be sustained mindfulness, and the mind will fall calm and collected on the object. When the noting mind falls on stiffness, yogi comes to know stiffness. When the yogi's mind falls on tension, then the yogi comes to know tension. So these stiffness, tension are the nature of materiality. And the noting mind that comes to know is the nama, mentality. So in this way, yogi comes to discern distinctly between nama rupa, between mind and matter. So when the person comes to know distinctly between nama and rupa, mind and matter, at this stage, the yogi can overcome the wrong view of jiva atta, wrong view of individual soul. So at this stage, when the yogi discerns nama rupa, mind and matter, yogi overcomes the wrong view of sakkaya ditthi, personality view. So wrong view, having this personality view as chief, is overcome at the stage when the yogi discerns mind and matter, nama and rupa. So in this way, knowledge on and knowledge discerning mind and matter, which is called kusa. Kusa being the knowledge, understanding mind and matter, remove the unwholesomeness of this wrong view. So in this way, knowledge into mind and matter, insight into mind and matter, is removing the wrong view of Sakkaya Ditthi. It is removing the wrong view of personality. So in this way, one is obtaining kusala, wholesomeness, by gaining knowledge, by gaining insight into nama rupa. In this way, kusala, wholesomeness, is cultivated. Having this knowledge of nama rupa, one is overcoming the wrong view of personality, which is contemptible and detestable. So in this way, one is obtaining wholesomeness by gaining jnana. And as the yogi practices on, yogi understands that because there is rising and falling, stiffness, tension, denoting mind that comes to know rising, falling, as stiffness, tension takes place. So the rising, falling arises connecting with the breathing in and breathing out. Because there is breathing in and breathing out, rising, falling takes place. And as the yogi notes the rising, falling, the person comes to know stiffness, tension, and so on. So because there is stiffness, tension, the noting mind that comes to know the stiffness, tension takes place. At times, falling may either disappear. When falling disappears, the noting mind that comes to know the falling doesn't take place. So, because there are objects, the noting mind that comes to know the object takes place. So in this case, the object is the cause and the noting mind is the effect. If there is no rising, falling, the noting mind that comes to know the rising, falling doesn't take place. So in this way, yogi comes to understand cause and effect. By understanding cause and effect, yogi overcomes the wrong view of creator when she understands cause and effect. And understanding that relevant causes giving rise to relevant effect, in this way, yogi also overcomes the fictitious view of cause. Fictitious cause view. So in this way, by knowing cause and effect, yogi comes to overcome the wrong view of creator or the wrong view of fictitious cause. So in this way, the knowledge into cause and effect is weakening, removing the wrong view. So the knowledge, which is called kusa, is removing the unwholesomeness, wrong view. So one is obtaining wholesomeness by having knowledge into cause and effect. So knowing the nama rupa distinctly, having insight into nama rupa, mind and matter, and having insight into cause and effect, it is not genuine vipassana jhana yet. But at the stage of these knowledges, into nama rupa and cause and effect, it is the preliminary stage, which is leading to genuine Vipassana jhana. So at this stage of Nama Rupa Pariseda Jnana, knowledge into Nama Rupa, and Tasya Parigaha Jnana, knowledge into cause and effect, it is the preliminary stage, it is the neighborhood stage leading to the genuine Vipassana jhana. So at that stage, having this Vitakka and Vichara present, it is like tying the noting mind onto the object. So Sayadaw gives an example of sewing. When one sews two pieces of cloth together, one has to sew in such a way that two pieces of cloth will seem just one. So in order to sew the two pieces of cloth, one needs needle and thread. So one needs to put two pieces of cloth together, and one needs to sew in such a way that these two cloths will become one. So in sewing the two pieces of cloth, one has to make the needle go through into the pieces of cloth. So it is like Vitakka. One needs to aim the mind towards the object. So it is compared to putting the needle go through the two pieces of cloth. And when sewing, when the needle goes in, the thread follows. In the same way, when one applies Vitakka, aiming the mind towards the object, Vichara, rubbing the noting mind against the object, follows. So when one sews the two pieces of cloth with thread, needle and the thread, then two pieces of cloth stick together and they become firm. In the same way, when you are able to assert these two jhana factors, Vitakka and Vichara, the noting mind will be firmly tied to the object of meditation. And when sewing, one needs to put effort so that the needle will go through. When the needle goes through, the thread follows, and when the stitch is made, two pieces of cloth are sticked together. In the same way, when you apply this Vitakka, aiming, in order to aim the noting mind towards the object, you also need to put effort. So when this Vitakka and Vichara are applied in noting, then the noting mind will stick onto the object. So sticking onto the object, it is mindfulness, sati, making the mind calm and collected on the object. It is ekaggata, concentration or one-pointedness of mind. So when the noting mind is firmly tied onto the object, there will be sustained mindfulness. The mind will not go here and there, but the noting mind will be firmly tied onto the object. So just as when you stitch or sew two pieces of cloth together, when you sew them with a very firm stitch, very firm stitch or very firm seam, then these two pieces will be intact. They will be connected, they will stick together, they will seem, two pieces of cloth will seem just one by stitching firmly together with a very firm stitch or firm seam. So in the same way, one needs to aim the mind towards the object, and one should put effort in order that the noting mind will penetrate into the object. So if you are able to do that, the noting mind will be firmly tied onto the object, and mindfulness will follow. Just like when you stitch two pieces of cloth together, there will be a very nice seam or the stitches coming one after another. In the same way, mindfulness will come one after another. So, in order to make a good dress or a good shirt, you need to go to a tailor. So when the tailor has a very good cut and very good stitch and very good cut, then this tailor will be famous. In the same way, yogi needs to note in such a way one makes into a shirt or into a dress by sewing, by stitching properly. So when two pieces of cloth are stitched together properly, then they will be in good shape. The dress or the shirt will be nicely cut, fashionable, and nicely stitched. In the same way, yogi needs to note the presently arising object with aiming, effort. Yogi needs to apply these jhana factors of vitakka and vichara so that your practice will be in good shape, it will be nice cut, and your mind will be nicely stitched, firmly stitched onto the object of meditation. So during the time left, while you are here in this retreat, may you be able to practice with these mental strength and jhana factors so that your mindfulness will be in good shape, and then your mind will be firmly stitched onto the object of meditation.